G'day, here we are going for part 4 of my attempt of world domination. Now I do have an idea for one thing that I want to do, and that is that I need to make something down here another central point. So I think that possibly Wuhan is going to be the nice center of middle China. So what I'm going to do is try and get an $8,300 flight path from there. And intentionally what I'm doing is I'm starting this path from this end so that the plane isn't going to leave from Kazakhstan full of people. It is going to get there as a bigger plane. So that's already can take 300 people. So what we want to just quickly do now is get a few of these guys to connect straight across. I noticed that I think these must be getting a bit more expensive too. But the idea here is going to be that the strategy that I've used to have let's get Wuhan upgraded as well. The strategy that I used to have all of these sort of each country has its capital be the focus, and then everything else is just sort of like riding off that capital. I'm bailing on because I realize that now that I'm moving away from Europe and Africa, this is now a much bigger task. I'm now moving into much bigger countries like Russia and China, where there are lots of people. We get to Chengzhou over there. There are lots of people, and there are lots of sort of cities. So what we're going to do is we're going to shift all of these to over here. Now I've got to... What we've got to hope is that these just sort of start to pull off a bit quicker too. Now, what I'm going to do is just buy my extra planes. Wuhan's obviously going to suffer a little bit here too, because I've just suddenly pulled a lot of routes here that now only have one airplane on them. So we'll go around and we'll buy lots of airplanes to help make life a little bit easier for Wuhan. But basically, yeah, we're going to have a problem with the sudden shift that we've just done to Wuhan. What Wuhan will keep is, or we'll keep this route for Wuhan to Beijing. So the two of them will do the domestic travel between each other, and then they will just operate as two separate sort of halves of China. It's just sort of anyone that we can see that. Now obviously we do want to upgrade these planes as well at some point. For the time being, what we're doing is just sort of getting them established. Just trying to make sure that we don't have anything that's anything that is over both. That we now are separated into two separate sections. Shanghai is still using both, so we'll sell that for the money. Because we do need to quickly get, every time we get a big plane going, that's really what we need. We need to get Hungary on the board now too. We do want to make sure that these guys coming in do take some nice significant populations. These guys that are bigger, that are carrying people, aren't going to be too great either. We want them pulling people away from it, but you can see all the red planes that are suddenly going to just sort of pull out. And basically what it means is that now we're going to have 10 planes flying to China as opposed to just 5, which is, I think, a big improvement. So we'll get Budapest on the map. We'll get a few extra planes on that route. And Astana, I can tell you that Astana is going to be a city name burnt into my memory for all the time now, with all the nightmare headaches it's creating me here. But once I've got these guys upgraded, and once I've got the sort of commute out of Wuhan working a bit more efficiently as well, I think we'll have cleaned up our problem in China a bit more. Just more, say these guys here, let's try and get them a bit more efficient as they come in. So that hopefully we'll see, so say Shanghai and Chengdu are both attached to Wuhan. So this hopefully we'll see a big pool. So there's Chongqing. So there are a lot of ones in this southern part that are hopefully going to see looking much better now that we're pulling them away. It does mean that we are going to need Wuhan to be able to manage the amount of people coming in. So as you can see, we are now dropping red planes onto Wuhan. We need to make sure that these people, so it's Chongqing was one of the ones that's going to have a major amount of people, as is Shanghai. So we want to make sure that these will pull those large populations as they arrive. New Taipei. Yeah, New Taipei seems to be the main offender at the moment, so let's get a little bit better off. Okay. Now we can see that we've got plenty of red planes coming down this way too, and they aren't all the way upgraded yet. There's still more to go, but you can see that's slightly starting to lighten up a bit. Don't really want to spend too much more money trying to improve China while we have... we do need to get Iceland. Now, at the moment, Myanmar is just going via Beijing, not via Wuhan, but that's okay. We'll leave it like that for now. Hopefully this solves a bit more of our problem. So we want to upgrade a few of these planes that are going to Myanmar. Bangkok, a couple more. Okay. I would say that probably there the problem isn't going to be so much the size of that airport, but more the size of the airplanes that are trying to transport stuff away from it. How big is it? It's really annoying that it sunk my Mali city. It's caused that to... Like, you can see that this is now not really prepared for the amount of planes that are traveling up and down it. But that's, I guess, where London and everything are now going to bounce through that way, as opposed to going down and taking my, my well-built route. Okay, so now what we've got to do is hope that China can handle what's going on over here. But Wuhan's going to be okay. Again, it is just more of that route that's struggling. Even there's like new Taipei's having to come from down here somewhere, so I mean that's going to go a world tour to get all the way over to these guys. At least Beijing's handling this pretty well. I think Wuhan's looking a bit better. Got some decent planes on that route. We just can't really spend the money to go any better than that until we've got Iceland on the board. Again, it is just all... Every time I upgrade the planes on one side, the planes on the other side start to complain. But at least once I get to about there, I think that's where I've got more major lines going. As long as I can get that far, we're okay. Oh, there we go, Rabat's now complaining too. Sort of surge of planes just keep going up. There we go. That major guy's a bit of, yeah, taking on there, but we will up it a little bit. even know what city that is. That's Myanmar. So that's it. Just basically the Bangkok needs a bit more on its route. But again, we can't spend too much because we do need Iceland to come in. And absolutely not. We can't spend the money. And Qing. Guangzhou needs to step up its game a bit more. Again, we do need to spend money on that, but we have 2 minutes to get this guy on the board. That's Astana again, is still moping about its place in the world. Let's get these guys. Wuhan's now buckling as well. Okay. So we've got 7 minutes to get Kosovo, and we can see that Guangzhou is our absolute problem here. So let's try and get a few of these planes moving a bit more efficiently. Let's give them another plane too. Shanghai, I think, as well, was the other one that's the heavy hitter up here. So let's just make sure we can get rid of some of these smaller planes. It's not the longest route in the world, so sort of big surges of planes taking people should hopefully do the world a good. There we go. So that's a lot better off. Now, how are we looking here? But it's still those southern Shenzhen. Is Shenzhen? Is that one? Shenzhen. So again, that's majority of those are guys wanting to head south. So let's try and get some faster planes on this route again, because now you can I think that the Beijing side of this is working pretty well. It's just instead it's starting to overload with it's waiting to send to the south. New Taipei, Wuhan, Chengdu, Shenzhen, they're all southern cities. Just trying to hold a little bit on this to, I mean, I've got to spend the money to get Kosovo in this too, so it's definitely a mix of what we need here, but get him picking up his pace. And then this guy's probably fallen far enough behind that we'll go for him too. So hopefully these guys will now be shifting 600 each. We will see that start to fall away a little bit more. I would say a little bit because there's still going to be a long journey back for those planes. And you can see this guy's yellow as well, so he's starting to send a fair few people along as well. Probably do want to upgrade Wuhan sometime soon, but we've only got 5 minutes to get Kosovo going. I mean, you can see there's a lot of little planes coming in and out of here, so hopefully we're... I think Hangzhou is a popular destination at the moment, so let's try and get a little bit of money spent to improve Hangzhou. Shenzhen. This is the huge dump just then. We'll pick up the space of its planes too. Now, the problem with its planes is that they're all stacked down one end of its route. It is starting to overload. I might just bring in another guy there. Let's get that guy's pace picked up. I think we're probably going to have enough money to get Kosovo in. Taipei is also still a bit of a struggle. These small planes in there. Them going a bit bigger. Okay, 3 minutes to Kosovo, so now let's just focus on that. This part of it seems to be looking a bit better too. I mean, that is a long flight that we've currently got from Myanmar to Beijing. But I just don't want to put them through Wuhan at the moment. I think Wuhan's struggling enough. There's a lot of major cities in the south. So we'll just leave it be for now. Alright, let's find Kosovo. There we are. 13,000. So apparently all countries mode is currently near unbeatable. So where are we going to? Ulanovsk Airport. So we'll probably have to keep an eye on that. Can't imagine there's going to be too much in the way of big airplanes on that flight route. So hopefully Moscow can sustain the amount that are about to pound it. Okay, so for this guy, I think if we just go to Sarajevo, how we pronounce it? Sarajevo. I don't think that J's that hard. We'll get these guys on, and we will give them a variety of speeds. Okay, then we will go look at this guy. I can imagine all these red passengers are all starting to look to go to here, so we'll give him a 4-speed one and a 2-speed one. We'll see how we go with that. Now, Moscow is well under control at the moment, so hopefully it's not a problem. I'll upgrade one of that guy's, 2 of those guys' planes, just because he's looking a little bit off color. I mean, that's almost the best he's ever looked. Shanghai is still his major grief, but I think we've now got all the guys on that Astana route as fast as they go. So, I mean, while Shanghai, most of that is against the south, so this Beijing route is pretty efficient. It does make me wonder if what I should do is actually swap Shanghai to back being controlled by Beijing. Give Wuhan a bit more of a break, because it is these southern cities that are a bit more significant, it seems. You're a real standalone little guy up here. I guess we'll send you north. Okay, Benin is our next location. So as long as Wuhan is alive, possibly our requirement, I'll give Wuhan the upgrade, so I don't have to worry about it as much. But again, it's hard to tell if this is a benefit or a disadvantage, the way that China has just suddenly occupied so much of the of what I'm doing. I mean, in theory, if all these flights are going to taking people to China, then quite potentially it actually means that China is going to be is I'm making so much money from those Chinese flights that I can afford to do other stuff. That being said, I'm not really ever sitting here with tons of money. Now, Benin. I have no idea where Benin is located. How are you looking? So, I mean, once stuff's getting there, they're moving on pretty well. Give you a couple more planes. It's more than fair. Benin, Africa? Yeah, there we are. 14,000 in the next 5 minutes. Okay, so let's put our speed on a bit. See how confidently we can go with the pace picked up for a brief bit. Now, Moscow is going a bit yellow there. And it is these guys that are his problem. Let's try and up what they've got going on. Seoul's the other one, but I mean, Seoul's just a really long travel time, and I haven't even upgraded all the planes on that Seoul flight. Feel sorry for the people that have grabbed that flight and watch everyone else overtake them. That's even getting even higher up. Let's continue to up these guys to help it out. And we are now down to 3 minutes left for Bannon, but we can see that number's at least going down now, and it's almost over, so should be alright. Okay. Alright, so interesting far south city there. So maybe we'll go to Bamako as well. And we're gonna have to pay twice as much for our planes here. So hopefully what we can do, depending on how these guys over here are looking. Shiana, bit extra help. And we might up what's going on in Myanmar, Bangkok. Hopefully what we can try to do now is just start to get a bit more of a lead on the amount of time we have between. It's another one for Wuhan. I mean, Wuhan started to go green there, so I think we've hopefully sorted it out. What will happen with Beijing, though, is it'll take care of both North Korea and Japan as that sort of section. And I think that once it comes to heading even further south to Australia and the Philippines and Indonesia, well, we might have to have an even further south route. So say like Kunming or Guangzhou will actually get its own direct flight. There's a lot to donate to charity. We really can't afford making a move like that. Okay, so what we're going to do first, before I work on that, guy, is let's get Romania in the mix. Just because if that other one sits around for a little while, it's not going to destroy my my entire civilization. Whereas a Romania not coming in certainly would. Good thing at least is we're getting our small little European countries that now that China's established over there. Why are you so overloaded? Just a very small little airport. Go north, just take some of the weight off Wuhan. It's looking alright over here now. Even that's looking pretty good. Myanmar is our new concern down here, I'd say. Alright, but let's get over to Macedonia. Macedonia is located up here. Oh, they just keep giving us more and more. I would like to do the investment of putting Guangzhou in its own network, but I know that it's going to be a very expensive flight over, and so I think what I want to do is try and have a run of adding countries in. That I can sort of afford to have the time to spend the money to do that and then work on the next investment. So we'll get these guys to connect to maybe just Rome. Held in London, so that's okay. London's a major city. They're still giving us more Chinese cities. Burkina Faso is, I think, West Africa. Bangkok. Maybe we'll just increase the size. That's the only reason that that really starts to complain at all. Alright, Burkina Faso. Ooh. I don't think I can pronounce that one. Wagadadodu. Wagadadodu. No, Doju. If you know how to pronounce it, chuck it in the comments phonetically. I'm really glad that they haven't pushed me into expanding this way. I think if they gave me Brazil as a new one, that could get a bit tricky. Oh, we got another Shozu. Pretty sure it's a pretty significant Chinese city, isn't it? Moscow and Berlin. We'll take that. Would have appreciated a real Wuhan and I mean that extremely famous international flight that everyone always goes on from Wuhan to Astana. And I apologize to Kazakhstan that I still have to look up what the name of the capital city is, even though it's caused me nothing but grief. London is still an only level 4 city, so we'll probably give that a bit of an upgrade. Paris, 3,000. Majority of that is London. That is a pretty light on connection there, so we'll up those a bit to make the squeeze off Paris. Cambodia. Cambodia is back down this way, so we'll just slow down for a second because we've got the money to do Cambodia. Cambodia is definitely a country I haven't yet visited, but am eager to. Plenty of very uniquely Cambodian style temples to check out. Now these are starting to get expensive. That was 18,000 to bring Cambodia in. What we'll do is we'll just use Myanmar as the central point of this part of Asia. I don't think we can... A lot of those things are very expensive to try and get into. Just upgrade a few of these that are seeing constantly go yellow. I mean, in theory, upgrading the planes is the better way to go. But these are also only tiny little cities. Like, these are only 100 population airports. So, I mean, when they go yellow, it's only saying there's like 40 people there, so the next plane will clear them up. Moldova. Where is Moldova? I'm gonna have to click on the name for this one. Oh, no, there we are. Right, and we'll just go through Kiev. George is a little bit not happy with how long it takes for a plane to get back to him, so we'll just pick up the pace of one of his planes, and we'll do the same for these guys. Here we go, Ireland. Still a lot of red flying to China. I wonder how much of my money is coming from From my Chinese cities. No. Put that down and make sure we get that right. I wonder if what I should do with these is just start to commit to them going to Guangzhou, and then just up the Guangzhou flight path, so that I can just do this one as a nice little route, and then give him a bit more money on his planes, so he's not holding up Wuhan too much. Upgrade. You guys are going to come back red to Moscow now. So Seoul is still a big one they're dealing with, so just upgrade a bit more of those planes to Seoul. I don't know how this guy has survived so long as a nice leisurely flight across Russia. I suppose as long as these cities here aren't overly busy ones, this connection through Guangzhou actually won't be too bad. New Taipei seems to be the only place that's really had huge population surges that I kind of want to shift down. Alright, let's get the island. 21,000. Yeah, I think someone said in the comments that by the time you get into the last countries, you're eyeing down like 150,000. Which does seem a bit unreasonable. Especially if you get hit with one of those things where someone's filing a lawsuit at you because you lost their luggage and you want to take like 50% of whatever the current money you have is. How are they looking? Notice through all this, we haven't even gotten the Cardiff in this at all. Still currently no flights to Ireland. Alright, we'll just hold for a little bit so we've got enough money to give them their connecting flight. Give them... Indonesia. This will be another big one down the bottom here. Another one of the world's large populations, I think in the 200 millions. Mauritania. Okay, let's slow down for a second. Let's make sure Mauritania, wherever it is it Europe? I don't remember where Mauritania is. There. Cool. Alright, so it's not going to affect anyone because everyone can go via Bamako. And I just had another new city. I think that was Chinese again. Indonesia. So this is going to put a strain on the south. Jakarta's the capital, and somewhere on this island, I think. Could be proved wrong. Down here, I want to say. Find out how much I know about our neighbors to the north. I mean, the good thing is if I can sit on my hands with all my other routes, do make money. It's just constantly spending money looking for improvements that I think necessarily sink you, but makes it seem a bit more touch and go than it potentially is. 22,000. So we'll wait till we've got another one. I will send you north. The problem is, at the moment, I'm not really gaining anything on my my times. Oh, wrong island, but I was in the right area. Like, say my goal is to push up to 20 minutes or so, like I was in the early game, and I'm not getting anywhere near that for any of my my new country additions. Okay, so we want to get 5 planes on this route, I would say. Or at least 4. Let's get them going at a little bit of speed. Riga. Does anyone remember where Riga's located? Alright, we'll upgrade Jakarta because we're now going to have some internal flights going there. Venezuela is next. So now we're going to be moving into Brazil. No, South America. So that's probably a good enough time to call this session. Thanks for watching. Any questions or comments, feel free to check them below. But until next time, catch you later. See ya.